The horse kept guarding the child's bed. When the family found out why, they couldn't believe it. In the quiet stillness of night, when the world was cloaked in darkness and dreams danced through the minds of many, there existed a peculiar bond that transcended the ordinary. Thunder, a magnificent chestnut horse, stood sentinel outside the nursery window, his deep-set eyes scanning the shadows that flickered across the moonlit grass. Unlike most horses whose spirits were tethered to the earth, Thunder's soul seemed entwined with something more ethereal. He was not merely a creature of flesh and bone. He was a guardian, a stalwart protector of the family he loved. Inside the nursery, little Emily slept in her crib, blissfully unaware of the silent watch that was being kept over her. At just 6 months old, her laughter was like a soft melody, capable of turning the most mundane moments into joyous celebrations. Emily had a way of lighting up the room, her bright blue eyes sparkling with curiosity, making the world seem just a little less daunting. The gentle rise and fall of her tiny chest, paired with the serene expression on her face, painted a picture of pure innocence. But it was during the night, as the moon bathed the room in a silvery glow, that the atmosphere shifted from peaceful to something more unsettling. The first few nights had passed without incident. Emily's parents, Sarah and Mark, had welcomed their daughter into the world with open arms, their lives revolving around her, every coo and giggle. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, they began to notice a strange pattern. Thunder, who had always been a playful companion during the day, took on a new role at night. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, he would trot over to the nursery and settle himself outside the window, his presence a comforting sight for the family. Initially, they attributed his behavior to mere affection. After all, horses were known for their loyalty, and Thunder had always been particularly fond of Emily. But soon, the family found themselves caught in a web of mysteries. Toys would inexplicably shift across the room. A chill would seep through the nursery, and Emily's laughter would occasionally be punctuated by distressing cries, even when she seemed perfectly healthy. It was as if a veil had been drawn over their tranquil home, revealing glimpses of a lurking presence that they could not quite grasp. Mark, ever the rational thinker, sought explanations for the strange happenings. "It's just the wind," he would say, dismissing Sarah's concerns with a wave of his hand. But Sarah's intuition told her otherwise. She felt it in her bones. Something was amiss. The connection between Thunder and their child had deepened to an inexplicable level. He sensed the unseen, the restless energy that lingered in the shadows. One particularly restless night, as the wind howled outside and the rain tapped against the windows like a persistent visitor, Mark decided to take matters into his own hands. Armed with a camera and an unwavering determination, he set up a recording device in the nursery, hoping to capture the truth behind the night's uncanny events. As he prepared to settle down for what he anticipated would be a long wait, he glanced at Thunder, who stood resolutely outside the window, his majestic silhouette framed by the ethereal glow of the moon. "Stay close, buddy," Mark whispered, his voice barely above a murmur. Little did he know that Thunder was not merely standing guard, he was actively protecting Emily from something far more sinister than they could ever imagine. Before we delve deeper into this gripping tale, I urge you to pause for a moment. If you find yourself drawn to stories that celebrate the bond between humans and animals, the mysteries that weave through our lives, and the unseen connections that can change our destinies, please subscribe to our channel. Your support is invaluable, and it helps us bring more heartwarming and captivating narratives to life. By subscribing, you become part of a community that cherishes the beauty and complexity of life, encouraging us to share even more stories that often remain untold. So please take a moment to subscribe now. As the hours passed, the nursery remained silent, save for the soft patter of rain. Thunder shifted restlessly, his ears flicking back and forth as if listening to a distant whisper. Mark's eyes grew heavy, and just as he was about to succumb to sleep, The camera's red light flickered, signaling that something was unfolding. In that fleeting moment, a shiver ran down Mark's spine, an instinctual warning that he was on the brink of uncovering a truth that had lain dormant for far too long. The first hour passed uneventfully, but just as the clock struck midnight, the atmosphere in the room shifted palpably. Thunder's stance became more alert, his body rigid with tension. Mark, feeling the weight of the moment, leaned closer to the screen, heart pounding in anticipation. The camera captured a flicker of movement near the crib, a shadow that seemed to dance just beyond the edge of perception. Emily stirred, her tiny hands reaching out as if grasping for something unseen. Mark's breath hitched in his throat as the shadow coalesced into a form, translucent and wavering. He watched in horror and fascination as a ghostly figure, its features blurred by a veil of mist, hovered above his daughter's crib. It was a haunting sight that struck a chord deep within him, a reminder of the stories whispered around the flickering firelight on cold winter nights, a restless spirit drawn inexplicably to the pure, innocent energy of his child. As the realization washed over him, a swell of protective instinct surged within Mark. He bolted from his seat, his heart racing, thoughts racing even faster. Thunder neighed sharply, a sound that reverberated with urgency, as if he understood the gravity of the situation. The ethereal figure, sensing the powerful bond between man and beast, wavered but did not retreat. In that moment, everything changed. The tranquility of their home, the gentle laughter of their child, and the love they had built as a family were all inherently tied to a history they had yet to uncover. The connection between Thunder, Emily, and the ghostly figure was woven into the very fabric of the land they called home, an unspoken story that begged to be revealed. And as Mark stood frozen, a myriad of questions flooded his mind. Who was this spirit? Why was it drawn to Emily? And most importantly, how could he protect his child from the unknown? As the night wore on, the family would soon find themselves embarking on a journey that would lead them to uncover the dark history of their farm, a past intertwined with love, loss, and the relentless pursuit of peace. Thunder would remain steadfast, his loyalty unwavering, but the answers they sought would demand courage and resilience as they ventured into the heart of the mystery that threatened to consume them all. As dawn broke, painting the sky with hues of lavender and gold, Mark stood in the nursery, still reeling from the revelations of the night. The camera lay silently on the table, the recording light now extinguished, yet the unsettling vision of the ghostly figure lingered in his mind. He turned toward the crib, where Emily continued to sleep peacefully, completely unaware of the unsettling presence that had hovered over her. It was a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling within him. He felt a desperate need to protect her, to shield her from whatever had sought to claim her in the night. "Sarah," he called softly, his voice trembling slightly with urgency. He knew he needed to share what he had witnessed, to make her aware of the shadow that lurked in their home. She appeared moments later, her hair tousled and eyes still heavy with sleep. The gentle, nurturing spirit of his wife was a comforting sight, yet Mark felt a pang of guilt for what he was about to reveal. "What is it?" Sarah asked, concern etching her features as she noticed the tension in Mark's posture. "I think something's wrong," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I set up the camera last night, and you won't believe what I saw." He gestured toward the camera, and after a moment's hesitation, he pressed play. The flickering screen illuminated their faces, showing the nursery in vivid detail. The initial minutes passed quietly, the only sounds being the soft rustle of Emily's blankets and the patter of rain against the window. Then came the moment when the shadow appeared, swirling and shifting, its form barely defined yet undeniably present. "Oh my God," Sarah gasped, her hands flying to her mouth as she watched the apparition hover over their child. The realization hit her like a cold wave, and fear crept into her heart. Is it dangerous?" "I don't know," Mark replied, his brow furrowed. In deep thought, but Thunder seems to think so. He's been guarding her every night. He glanced out the window where the majestic horse stood, his eyes alert and watchful, as if he understood the stakes of the night before. Sarah's gaze followed Mark's, and a sense of unease settled in her chest. "We need to talk to someone," she suggested, her voice trembling slightly. This can't be a coincidence. It's like the spirit is drawn to her." Mark nodded, knowing that the situation was far more complicated than either of them had anticipated. They had moved to this farm for its tranquility and charm, but now it felt as though they had unwittingly stepped into a realm of shadows and whispers. "Let's start by asking around in town. Maybe someone knows about the history of this place. There has to be a reason for this." With a shared determination, they decided to spend the day gathering information. After breakfast, they bundled Emily into her stroller, and together they headed toward the small town that lay a few miles down the road. The sun shone brightly, but the warmth of the day did little to ease the chill that clung to Mark and Sarah's hearts. As they strolled through the quaint streets, they stopped by the local library, a cozy building filled with the scent of old books and polished wood. The librarian, an elderly woman named Mrs. Hargrove, greeted them with a warm smile, her silver hair gleaming in the sunlight. "What can I help you with today?" she inquired, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "We're looking for information about the history of our farm," Mark explained, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "There have been some strange occurrences, and we think it might be connected to the land." Mrs. Hargrove's expression shifted, a shadow crossing her features. "Ah, the old Miller farm," she said quietly, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "There are stories about that place. Some say it's haunted." "Haunted?" Sarah echoed, mixture of fear and intrigue in her voice. "What do you mean?" "It was once home to a family that faced great tragedy," Mrs. Hargrove began, leading them to a section of the library filled with local history books. "Years ago, the Millers lost their youngest child, a little girl named Lily. It's said that her spirit never left the farm, that she wanders the fields and the house, searching for her family. Some believe she's drawn to infants, seeking to connect with the innocence she lost." Mark and Sarah exchanged a glance, their hearts racing. Could this be the spirit they had encountered? The thought sent a shiver down their spines, yet it also sparked a sense of empathy within them. They understood the pain of loss. They had faced their own struggles on the journey to parenthood. "Is there a way to help her?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "To put her spirit to rest?" Mrs. Hargrove nodded thoughtfully. "There are ways to honor her memory, to acknowledge her presence. Some families have found peace by holding a small ceremony, offering flowers at her favorite places, or simply speaking her name, letting her know she is not forgotten." Mark felt a flicker of hope. "We'll do whatever it takes to protect Emily and help this spirit find peace," he declared firmly. The determination in his voice resonated with Sarah, who nodded in agreement. As they left the library, the weight of their new knowledge hung heavily over them. They returned home, the sun setting. Behind them, casting long shadows across the landscape, Thunder greeted them at the gate, his presence a reassuring reminder that they were not alone in this journey. That evening, as the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Mark and Sarah gathered in the nursery. They held Emily in their arms, her soft coos filling the room with warmth. "We need to honor Lily," Sarah said softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "We need to let her know she's not alone." Mark took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the responsibility resting on his shoulders. "Let's start tomorrow. We'll plant flowers in the garden, and we can create a small memorial for her. We'll make sure she knows she is remembered." The plan settled in their hearts, a beacon of hope amidst the uncertainty. But as they tucked Emily into her crib that night, the air around them shifted once more, a chill creeping in as Thunder stood watch outside. They knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but the bond they shared as a family would guide them through the darkness. As the moonlight poured into the nursery, illuminating Emily's serene face, Mark and Sarah felt a deep sense of purpose. They were not just fighting for their daughter's safety, they were embarking on a journey of healing for both Emily and the restless spirit that lingered in the shadows. If this story resonates with you, if you too believe in the power of love and connection that transcends even the boundaries of life and death, please take a moment to share your thoughts. Comment below and let us know where you're tuning in from. Your words can inspire others and create a community of shared stories and experiences as we delve deeper into the mysteries of this tale together. As the night deepened, the family settled into a fragile peace, unaware of the trials that awaited them. The bond between Thunder and Emily, now fortified by their newfound knowledge, would prove essential in the days to come. They had taken their first step into the unknown, and with each passing moment they would unravel the threads of the past, piecing together a story that had long been buried in silence, waiting for a family brave enough to listen. The next morning dawned bright and clear, the sun casting a golden hue over the farm as if to reassure Mark and Sarah that they were on the right path. Birds chirped merrily in the trees, and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze created a symphony of nature that filled their hearts with a sense of hope. They had made a plan, and today they would honor Lily's memory. After breakfast, Mark and Sarah gathered supplies for their small memorial. They chose vibrant wildflowers, symbolic of life and renewal, and a few delicate white daisies, which were said to represent innocence and purity. As they prepared to head out to the garden, Thunder trotted alongside them, his presence a constant source of strength. The horse seemed to sense the significance of the day, his deep eyes reflecting a wisdom that surpassed mere instinct. When they reached the garden, Mark knelt down, digging his hands into the rich, dark soil. "This is a perfect spot," he said, gesturing to a sunny patch near the old oak tree. The tree had been a witness to countless memories made on the farm, and now it would stand sentinel over their tribute. Sarah knelt beside him, her heart racing as they began to plant the flowers, each one representing a promise to remember and honor the spirit of the little girl who once played on this land. With each flower they planted, they spoke softly to Lily, telling her about their family and how much they cherished Emily. "We want you to know that you are loved," Sarah said, her voice laced with emotion. "You are not forgotten. You have a place in our hearts, just as Emily does." As they worked, Thunder stood nearby, his head lowered, as though he too was listening intently. His loyalty and connection to the family were palpable, and Mark couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the horse that had become their protector. It was as if Thunder understood the gravity of their situation, and he was there to support them every step of the way. Once the flowers were planted, they took a moment to step back and admire their work. The vibrant colors danced in the gentle breeze, and the sunlight cast playful shadows across the soil. They had created a beautiful space, a sanctuary for Lily's spirit, and in that moment, a sense of calm washed over them. They felt a connection to the past, a bridge spanning the years that separated them from the Millers and the tragedy that had unfolded on this land. As they stood hand in hand, Emily cooed softly in her stroller, her blue eyes wide with wonder at the world around her. Mark and Sarah exchanged smiles, their hearts swelling with love for their daughter. It was a bittersweet moment, a reminder of both the fragility of life and the strength found in love. But as the afternoon wore on, the air began to shift once more. A cool breeze swept through the garden, rustling the leaves and carrying with it an unmistakable chill. The sky darkened slightly, and a sense of unease settled over them. Thunder pricked his ears, his body tensing as he gazed toward the farmhouse, a low whinny escaping his lips. "What is it, boy?" Mark asked, instinctively moving closer to Sarah and Emily. They could feel the atmosphere change, a weight pressing down upon them. It was as if the very air had thickened with unspoken words, a tension that hinted at the presence of something or someone watching them. "Maybe we should go inside," Sarah suggested, her voice trembling slightly. She felt an instinctual pull to protect Emily, to shield her from whatever might be lurking in the shadows. "Just a few more minutes," Mark replied, his eyes scanning the horizon. He couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to happen, something that would bring the past and present crashing together in a way they hadn't anticipated. As if in response to his thoughts, a soft rustling sound echoed from the edge of the garden. Mark turned sharply, his heart racing as he saw a flicker of movement among the trees. The shadows seemed to ripple, an ephemeral figure forming in the dappled light. It was a momentary glimpse, but it was enough to send a shiver down his spine. He felt a familiar presence, a ghostly essence that stirred the air, and he knew in his heart that it was Lily. "Mark!" Sarah gasped, her eyes widening in fear. She instinctively moved closer to him, holding Emily protectively against her chest. "Stay calm," he urged, though his own voice betrayed a hint of uncertainty. "I think she's here." The air grew colder still, and the figure solidified momentarily before fading away again, a fleeting glimpse of a little girl with golden curls and a bright smile. Mark felt a surge of empathy, a deep understanding of the pain that had bound Lily to this land. "We're here to remember you, Lily," he called out, his voice steady despite the tremor of fear in his heart. "You're not alone." In that moment, the atmosphere shifted once more. The wind picked up, swirling around them as if to carry their words to the spirit. The flowers they had planted seemed to sway in acknowledgement, a gentle dance of colors that brightened against the encroaching shadows. Sarah's grip on Emily tightened as she felt the chill grow stronger. "Do you think she can hear us?" she whispered, her eyes darting around the garden, searching for any sign of the spirit. "I believe she can," Mark replied, his voice steadying. "We need to show her that we understand, that we're willing to honor her memory." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the garden, they began to speak to Lily again, sharing stories of their family and the love that filled their home. They spoke of Emily, of her laughter and joy, of the hope that had blossomed within them since her arrival. "Lily, we want you to be a part of our family," Sarah said, her voice thick with emotion. "You are loved, and we promise to keep your memory alive. Please know that you are not forgotten." As they spoke, the shadows around them flickered and danced, a soft whisper in the wind that felt like an embrace. Mark and Sarah exchanged glances, feeling a profound connection to the spirit that had once been tethered to this land. It was as if they were not just communicating with a ghost, but bridging the gap between two families, two worlds intertwined through love and loss. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the garden, rustling the flowers and sending a flurry of petals swirling into the air. It felt like a response, a gentle acknowledgement from Lily, and in that moment they knew they had reached her. Mark took a deep breath, his heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Lily," he whispered, his eyes glistening with tears. "We will always remember you." As the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, the air lightened, the chill receding as if a weight had been lifted. Thunder neighed softly, and for the first time since their journey began, the atmosphere felt peaceful. They stood together in the garden, holding Emily close, feeling united in their purpose. When they finally turned to leave, they noticed a single daisy had blossomed amidst the others, its petals vibrant and radiant, as if it had been touched by something ethereal. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the face of loss, love could flourish. That night, as they settled into bed, Mark and Sarah felt a sense of calm enveloping their home. The shadows that had once loomed large over them seemed to recede, replaced by an overwhelming sense of peace. Thunder lay outside Emily's nursery, his watchful gaze unwavering, but now it felt as though the spirit of Lily had become part of their family, a guardian watching over them as they navigated the complexities of life. In the days that followed, the family continued to honor Lily's memory, sharing stories and creating new traditions that celebrated both their daughter and the spirit that had once wandered the land. They planted flowers in her name, spoke her name aloud, and made sure to include her in their family gatherings, forging a bond that transcended the boundaries of life and death. As the seasons changed and the farm flourished, Mark and Sarah found strength in their connection to the past. They learned to embrace the mysteries that surrounded them, understanding that love could bridge even the most profound divides. With thunder at their side, they faced each day with courage, ready to protect their family and cherish the memories of those who had come before. And in the quiet moments, when the world outside fell silent, they could feel Lily's presence, a gentle whisper in the wind, a reminder that they were never truly alone. Together they forged a new path, one filled with hope, love, and the promise of a brighter future. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between Mark, Sarah, Emily, and Thunder grew even stronger. The flowers they had planted in honor of Lily blossomed vibrantly, their colors a testament to the life that had once flourished on the land. Each morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, Mark and Sarah would take Emily out to the garden, where they would talk to her about the little girl whose spirit they had embraced. "See those daisies, Emily?" Sarah would say, gently pointing to the blooms swaying in the breeze. "They remind us of Lily. She's always here with us, watching over you." Emily would giggle, her laughter a sweet melody that filled the air, and it felt to Mark and Sarah as though Lily's spirit smiled back at them through their daughter's joy. One bright afternoon, as they tended to the garden, a curious thought crossed Mark's mind. What if we could create a small gathering to celebrate Lily's memory? We could invite the neighbors and share her story, he suggested, turning to Sarah with excitement. "That sounds wonderful," Sarah replied, her eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "We can tell everyone about our journey and the connection we've made with her spirit. It might help others in the community who have experienced loss too." With renewed purpose, they set to work planning the gathering. They decided to host it in their backyard, where they would decorate with flowers and string lights to create a warm, inviting atmosphere. They spread the word, inviting friends and neighbors, sharing the story of their little girl and the spirit who had touched their lives. As the day of the gathering approached, a sense of nervous anticipation filled the air. They wanted to honor Lily properly, and they hoped their community would embrace the spirit of remembrance they aimed to create. On the evening of the event, the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. Friends and neighbors arrived, bringing with them a sense of camaraderie and warmth that enveloped the farm. Mark and Sarah welcomed each guest with open arms, their hearts swelling with gratitude for the support surrounding them. They had set up a small table adorned with the vibrant flowers, each bloom symbolizing not just Lily, but the love and resilience that had blossomed from their shared experiences. Once everyone had gathered, Mark stood at the head of the table, his heart racing but his spirit resolute. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We wanted to share a story that has become a part of our family, a story about a little girl named Lily who once lived here. She has touched our lives in ways we never expected, and we hope to keep her memory alive." As he spoke, he could see the faces of their friends soften, empathy radiating from them. Sarah joined him, holding Emily in her arms, her expression a mix of love and determination. Lily was a child who loved life, and though her time on this earth was brief, we believe her spirit remains here, watching over us. We want to honor her by sharing her story and reminding each other of the love that transcends loss. Tears glistened in the eyes of their guests as they listened. Mark and Sarah recounted their experiences, the strange occurrences in the nursery, Thunder's unwavering loyalty, and their journey to honor Lily's memory. They spoke of the flowers they had planted and the bond they felt with both Emily and the spirit of the little girl. As the evening wore on, laughter and stories filled the air, a celebration of life that resonated deeply with everyone present. They shared their own experiences with loss, offering each other support and understanding. The gathering became a space of healing, where memories were cherished and connections were forged anew. In that moment, Mark and Sarah realized that they had created something beautiful, not just for themselves, but for their community. They had transformed their grief into a legacy of love, a testament to the power of remembrance and the strength found in unity. As the stars began to twinkle above, lighting up the night sky, Mark turned to Sarah, his heart full. "We did it," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "We honored her." Sarah smiled, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. "Yes, we did, and she will always be a part of our family." In the days that followed, the spirit of their gathering lingered in the air, a reminder that love could conquer even the darkest moments. The flowers they had planted flourished in the garden, their colors vibrant against the landscape, and the bond between the family and Thunder deepened into something unbreakable. One night, as Mark lay in bed, he awoke to the sound of gentle whinnying outside the window. He got up to investigate, curiosity piquing his interest. Peering outside, he saw Thunder standing at the edge of the garden, his eyes fixed on something in the distance. "Hey, buddy," Mark whispered, slipping on his shoes and stepping outside into the cool night air. He approached the horse, who remained alert, ears perked, as if sensing something that Mark could not. "What is it?" he asked softly. Just then, a soft breeze swept through the garden, rustling the leaves and causing a shiver to run down Mark's spine. He felt a sudden warmth enveloping him, and for a fleeting moment he sensed a presence beside him. It was as if Lily's spirit had come to visit, to reassure him that she was at peace. "Thank you for being a part of our lives," Mark murmured into the night, his voice trembling with emotion. "We will always remember you." As the breeze faded and the stars twinkled above, Mark felt a profound sense of peace wash over him. The bond between his family, Thunder, and the spirit of Lily would carry them forward into the future, a reminder that love, in all its forms, could transcend even the boundaries of life and death. And so, the family continued to thrive, united by the memories they cherished, the love they shared, and the legacy of a little girl who had found her way into their hearts. As they navigated the complexities of life, they knew that they were never truly alone. They carried the spirit of Lily with them, a guiding light that would illuminate their path, forever watching over them as they embraced each new day. As the seasons turned and the farm flourished, the family's bond deepened, enriched by the memories of Lily and the love they continued to nurture. Each day held a promise of joy, laughter, and the comforting knowledge that they were part of something greater, a tapestry woven with threads of love, loss, and resilience. One sunny afternoon, as the golden rays poured over the fields, Sarah decided it was time to host another gathering, this time a celebration of life and community. "Let's invite everyone back," she suggested to Mark, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We can share a meal, tell stories, and continue honoring Lily's memory." Mark agreed wholeheartedly. "We can also invite some local musicians to play. It'll be a joyful occasion, a chance for everyone to come together and celebrate the beautiful moments we create." They set to work, preparing food and decorations, transforming their backyard into a festive space adorned with flowers and colorful banners. The anticipation bubbled within them, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the earth, friends and neighbors arrived, their laughter ringing through the air like music. As guests mingled and enjoyed the delicious spread, Mark and Sarah felt enveloped by the warmth of community. They shared stories of their journey, recounting the challenges they had faced and the love that had seen them through. The atmosphere was filled with a sense of togetherness, a shared understanding that resonated deeply in every heart present. As the evening wore on, one of the local musicians, a kind-hearted man named Thomas, took to the makeshift stage. With his guitar in hand, he began to play a melody that was both uplifting and soulful. The music wove through the crowd, inviting everyone to join in. Mark and Sarah took Emily into their arms, swaying gently to the rhythm, feeling the joy of the moment wash over them. Suddenly, as if summoned by the spirit of the gathering, the breeze picked up, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of wildflowers. Mark glanced toward the garden, where the daisies danced in the twilight. It felt as though Lily was there with them, celebrating in her own way, her spirit intertwining with the laughter and music that filled the air. "Let's raise a toast," Mark called out, his voice resonating through the crowd. "To love, to friendship, and to the memory of Lily. May we always carry her spirit with us." Glasses clinked together, and the heartfelt cheers echoed through the night, a testament to the bonds forged in love and remembrance. As the celebration continued, stories flowed freely, tales of hope and healing shared amongst friends, each one a reminder of the strength that comes from community. Later that evening, as the stars twinkled above and the last notes of the music faded away, Sarah found herself standing near the garden, her heart swelling with gratitude. She felt a presence beside her, and turning, she saw Thunder standing close by, his gentle gaze filled with understanding. It was as if he too sensed the essence of the night, the joy, the love, and the memories that had been woven into the fabric of their lives. "Thank you for being our protector, Thunder," she whispered, reaching out to gently stroke his mane. "You've brought us so much comfort." Just then, a soft breeze rustled the flowers, and for a moment she felt a warmth envelop her, a fleeting embrace that seemed to echo Lily's spirit. It was a reminder that love transcends time, binding them together in a way that would never fade. As the night deepened, Mark joined her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "It was a beautiful night," he said, his voice tinged with emotion. "I think we truly honored her." Sarah nodded, her heart full. "And we'll continue to honor her. She'll always be part of our family." With that shared understanding, they turned their gazes toward the stars, and in that quiet moment, they felt an unbreakable bond that would carry them forward. Together, they embraced the journey ahead, knowing that love would guide them through every shadow and light. They had created a legacy, not only for Emily, but for Lily, a testament to the enduring power of family, connection, and remembrance. As the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, illuminating the world in soft hues of pink and gold, the family awoke with renewed purpose. They would continue to cherish the memories, honor the past, and nurture the love that united them all, watching over each other as protectors, just like Thunder had done all along. Together, they would face whatever the future held, forever entwined in a story that celebrated the beauty of life, love, and the spirits that watch over us from beyond.